So here is the content. This is a reason that I jumped on. All right. So writer's block. Writer's block is a symptom. A lot of people look at this. They say, "Well, I've got a problem, and it's writer's block, and I can't write because I have writer's block," as if it's like something that you have, right? As if it's like something that defines something about you, and it's not. Writer's block is simply a symptom, right? It's not the underlying issue. It's what happens when these other things underneath are not working properly. Does that make sense? I mean, and this could be for any sort of artist or creative person. I mean, there's writer's block for writers, painters, architects, it doesn't matter, right? But writer's block is a symptom. Writer's block means that you most likely got hung up in a certain place. You started off doing this music thing, and it was really fun, doing these little 4-bar, 8-bar loops sort of thing, and then you get writer's block. But that's not it. You didn't get writer's block. You got, oh, this is hard now. That's what you got. You got, oh, this is going to take some work. This is going to take some commitment. That's what you got. I understand that you can have a lot of information in you and the ideas aren't flowing. I get that. And I'll address that in a little bit. But I first want to get to the part, this first section, is that most people have writer's block because they don't know what they're doing. That is a major reason behind it. And in my opinion, if you truly understand sound creation, layered sounds and how layering sounds can make, a more rich and complex and more intriguing sound, properly knowing how to use EQ, compression, and some of the other essential effects, understanding how to mix, understanding how a song is arranged, understanding groove, which is very important. If you understood all of these things, then you wouldn't really be running into writer's block nearly as much, right? So writer's block is not the issue, really. Writer's block is the symptom of you not moving past these challenges. Does that make sense? I'm not expecting you guys to respond, so. Another concept that's really hard for people to really get is the concept that a lot of people face writer's block because they think that everything that they do through their art has to just come directly from their soul, directly from themselves. These ideas have to just kind of come through this one brain, and you try to conjure amazing ideas, and it doesn't really work that way. What's happened is a lot of people try to avoid other great artists. They try to avoid being influenced by other people. And because they're afraid that if they borrow from other sources, that it's going to make them unoriginal. But think about it this way. Like when you play the lottery, how many numbers are there? I might have played it once or something like that. What are there, like 46 numbers or something like that, right? So let's say those are 46 influences and everyone gets to pick 6, right? Chances are that the 6 that you pick are going to be nothing like the 6 that someone else picks. And that's why the lottery is able to do what it does, is because it's very rare that more than one person hits on the exact same numbers or choices, right? But now we expand this to thousands and tens of thousands of artists. Just music, right? Then you have thousands of artists, painters. You have thousands of conversations that go by you. If you're picking and choosing from all these things and from the books that you read and that sort of thing, how do you think that's going to create you being unoriginal? That's like it's saying that it's unoriginal to write anything because we're all using the same 26 letters. Everything you do you're not the source of all the information. The information is out there somewhere, right? what you are is you're a filter. Ideas run through you, and you get to pick and choose your preferences. And your preferences is what makes your style. Does that make sense? So that is how you become more original, and at the same time have tons and tons of ideas that you can put into your bucket, so that you never run out. You never run on empty. You've always got something new to check out. And usually what I'll do, like different things, sometimes for me, just knowing the title of a song is enough for me to get started on it. Like if I have like 40 or 50 song titles, that's almost enough inspiration for me to like kind of move forward. So what I'll do is, you know, when I hear a line or I hear a sample in a TV show or whatever, I always take notes of all these things on my iPhone. If I'm on the computer and I find something, then I'll do like either a screenshot or I'll use ScreenFlow, which is a screen recorder, and I will note all of that information. So that way I've just got this huge amount of things to influence my new ideas, all right? My ideas don't just come out of thin air. They come from me picking and choosing and borrowing and stealing and putting that together in my own way, right? So if you have that, if that's something that you allow yourself to do, and you understand the whole process of creating quality songs, right? With the sound creation and the layering, the EQ, the compression, the effects, the mixing, the arrangement, the groove, right? If you can get all that straightened out, then writer's block will kind of be a thing of the past. That's how I went from finishing like 3 or 4 songs in a year to finishing and releasing most of 52 songs in 13 months, right? I allowed ideas to just come through me. I allowed influences to influence me. And I reminded myself that I'm just a filter that these things run through. And that filter creates my own originality. And you might not see your own originality. You might not see this cohesive style that you're making until after you finish 10, 15, 20 songs. And all of a sudden you'll start discovering this kind of sound that's kind of coming out of it, right? So that's kind of what I have to say on writer's block, right? Is now the second step of writer's block that I want to get to is if you already know all of this stuff, you know, and a few of you do, I'm sure, and you seem to hit a wall still. What happens is, I don't really think of it as writer's block. I think of it more as writer's crisis, right? And what happens is, I think you hit this point where you're working on something and it's not going the way that you want it to. And when that happens, even if you finished 100 songs before, you start thinking, fuck, this song's shit. I'm shit. I'm not really that good at what I do. I feel like giving up. This song is just, it's too much of a challenge, or it's just not sounding right, or whatever. There's a lot of things. I found this happen in that 1 year stretch where I made all the songs. I found that this happened 2 or 3 times. Out of all the songs, about 2 or 3 songs, I went through this. But what I found was, since I got myself a daily practice, what happened was I just pushed my way through, and I showed up every day, and I tried things. And a lot of the things that the song needed took some time. So it's just kind of, you know, I had to put some elbow grease into it, you know, get a little bit of work into it. That was hard work, you know, or harder work. And I would put at least an hour into it each day or something like that. And it would usually take about 3 days before I had some sort of a breakthrough in the song. I don't like giving up on songs, because when you practice giving up on songs, then you're rehearsing giving up on songs. And when you rehearse giving up songs, then that's your habit, is giving up on songs instead of finishing songs. So for me, finishing songs is incredibly important. And by figuring out what doesn't work in this one song, that just makes you more intelligent and more capable the next time you run into the problem. So this is really how you learn. So what often happens is after you go through like a writer's crisis, if you're consistent, if you like keep at it for like 3 days, you'll usually come out of it. But when you come out of it, it's almost like the floodgates open for you, floodgates of creativity. You actually hit like a peak and you kind of get into a flow. It's really interesting. That flow tends to happen right after kind of a crisis. So that's what I have to say about the subject of writer's block. I know it's very real for all of us, but it's still an illusion. There's something behind it that you just need to sort out, okay? So yeah, that's all I had to say on the subject of writer's block. I hope that is helpful for you guys. I appreciate all you guys in this group, and I really want to create kind of an open conversation here that unlocks everyone's creativity. That's my goal. I'd love everyone in this group to be finishing quality songs. Is that going to happen? It's probably not going to happen. Not because it can't happen, but because a lot of people are not as committed as they think they are, unfortunately. But for those people who are committed, I think there's a lot that you can accomplish. And I really believe that everyone has a great song in them. Everyone probably has a great album in them, actually. You just got to find it. So with that, have a fantastic night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.